Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't think it could have gotten any worse with the gaming industry, Asha Sharma from Xbox, the CEO of Xbox, has announced that they are going to be laying off 3,200 roles, and 1,600 roles were eliminated yesterday. And we'll kind of get in more into that because one of the better studios of Xbox got hit the hardest. But let's get into it. Let's take a look at what she had to say here and what she broke down here. So here she starts off saying that this is an important email I sent today to all employees at Xbox. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 27. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today. And in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day. And I wanted to be direct about the scale. So here she, in her statement, she breaks it down that there's going to be 4 studios that are going to leave Xbox to new management, and she breaks it down later in here in her statement here. But here, as you can see, she says, our business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at a pace we expected. And as that happens, our core businesses weakened, and we added more teams, more investments, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. She goes on to say here, first, we reset our content portfolio. So since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. So they weren't even making half of their investment back. They were losing more than what they were making. Um, as we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. So here she talks about the studios. Here she mentions that Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP catalog and runaway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is beginning required consultation with its works council to review potential strategic options. So here, I guess the kind of silver lining out of all this is that these studios weren't completely shut down. They still got to keep their IPs. So, Double Fine, the creators of Psychonauts with Tim Schafer, and, Compulsion Games, they got to keep those IPs, like We the Happy Few and whatnot. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs are being sold to new ownerships. But the good thing about that is that they didn't have to completely scrap, for example, State of Decay 3. And I know that Senua was also coming out with another game. Ninja Theory was coming out with another Senua game, and they didn't have to scrap that either. So in that sense, I guess it's fine. I guess that's okay. Here she goes on to say, we are also making reductions across other units and in other cases shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These 2 studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest by monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. So yeah, obviously, she's gonna have the people like Candy Crush and games like that report to her, because right now those are the I guess the games that are bringing the most money to them at the moment. She goes on to say here, second, we will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. To me, it is absolutely mind-boggling and insane that under Phil Spencer's leadership, they got to a point where there was 14 layers of management. Could you imagine having to report to 14 different people and then having to, somehow get something pushed along the lines? I mean, no wonder nothing was really coming out of these acquisitions from Xbox. If you have to go through 14 layers of management, nothing was going to get pushed through. Everything was going to come to a halt. The amount of bureaucracy that had to be in that during his time is just astronomical. I mean, it's insane. I'm surprised that some of these other games even came out. I mean, no wonder some of them even came out half-assed. It's insane to me that there was 14 layers of management. And also, I still remember the days when they were in talks about obtaining Bethesda, and when they were going for the Activision Blizzard King acquisition. Everybody was touting how great it was going to be. Everybody was touting, "Wow, Phil is the man. He's gonna bring so much money to Xbox. He's gonna this is gonna be the greatest thing to happen to Xbox." And the fact that part of the reason why this was completely scrapped and killed was because there was 14 layers of management, which is insane to me. But as we go on, moving away from this topic, one of the layoffs, or one of the biggest studios that got hit the hardest was id Software. As we take a look over here, we can see here in this report, well, on this tweet, 95 people have been laid off from id Software. Doesn't id Software only have about 180 people? How are they expected to make Doom games with a team of that size? Are they becoming a support studio? So, id Software was hit the hardest, losing most of their software engineers, losing most of the programmers during these layoffs, cutting them basically to half. I mean, I just don't understand this move by them. Like id Software was one of the better, more solid studios that Xbox had in their company. To cut them down to half is like basically just killing them off slowly, pretty much. Here John Linneman from Digital Foundry ended up finding out about this yesterday. He said, "If they ended up decimating id Software's tech team, then I have no faith in anything they'll ever do again. Under the current leadership, between last week and today's news, I just don't know what to say at this point. Hearing more, and I can't actually post my real thoughts here and right now without getting myself in trouble. The disappointment here is off the charts." So yeah, it's insane to me that out of all of these cuts, out of the 3,200 whatever, or how many that they're getting rid of, they decided that they're going to cut half of id Software. It just blows my mind. And I believe Digital Foundry actually came out with a video today talking about that. I haven't seen that yet, but I'll probably jump on that later. But taking a look at some more of these people's responses here on X, if we take a look here, I think I bookmarked right here, Mr. Matty Plays, who's also a big YouTuber here. He reported here. He says reports suggest that Doom and Quake are focuses for Xbox among Bethesda's key franchises. So how we doing that by laying off half of it? These are the questions I talked about in my video, still a lot unanswered, for how Xbox plans to manage these series going forward. And that just summarizes a lot of people's thoughts. They're saying, like, okay, like, you guys are announcing all these like all these layoffs and stuff like that, and you want these studios to succeed, and you want them to produce, but how are you going to do that when you're cutting half of when you're cutting the studios in half, and you're better studios at that. So I don't know. It's really questionable with what Xbox is doing, and how everything is pretty much running. I mean, it's not really a shock. It's not really surprising. This was something that was, rumored for a long time. And the writing was kind of on the wall with Phil Spencer. But the fact that they had 14 layers of management under him, um, at one point, which is just insane. I mean, I'm surprised that there was anything getting done over there at Xbox. But these are just kind of my thoughts with what's going on. It's unfortunately another L for the gaming studio. Um, Let me know what you guys have. What are some of your thoughts about this? How do you think this is going to turn out for Xbox? Do you think Asha can really turn the ship around, or is it really sinking? So let me know in the comments below. If you like more content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.